I said it before the game, and I'll say it after, and I feel the same. I think that SMU team is as good a team as we've seen all season. Just a lot of respect for their program, their players, their coaching staff. Coach Lanier, obviously, I just think that they have a really good ball club, and they came in and they beat us tonight, without a doubt. On a night where we don't shoot the ball well, obviously, 2 for 17 from 3, and shoot under 40%, and you give them a lot of credit for that. That's an elite defensive team. You definitely can't give up 9 offensive rebounds in the first half, and I thought that it was a huge key in the game. 9 offensive rebounds in the first half allows them to feel like they can play their game, which they did. By crashing the glass so hard, it kind of equates to a really good shooting half for them in the second half, and we're playing obviously uphill. And then the turnovers in the first half, versus Tulsa, we have 9 turnovers, Temple, we have 10, and then we have 7 in the first half alone versus, this afternoon. And I thought those 2 things, the turnovers in the first half and the offensive rebounds that we gave up, they shoot 40% in the first half. If we're able to secure some of those first shot misses, I think, potentially it feels different at halftime at least. But being down 9 at halftime and them feeling like they could play SMU basketball, I thought ended up being a big part of this game.
Coach Sid also hit some big threes too. And, when you combine that with their defense rebound, how tough does that make it?
Yeah, it's tough. Obviously we went to changing defenses up in the second half because they're scoring the basketball. Their guys are making shots. There's 21-point difference from the 3-point line. They make 9, we make 2, and that's a huge number. 21-point difference from the 3-point line. So we start changing defenses up. We go zone. We get a few stops in zone. I thought Williamson was really dynamic, catching that ball in the high post late versus man and zone finishing. On those short drives. I give him a lot of credit, but they made their threes. They did. I think they go 9 for 20, 9 for 26, and Zurich makes 2, and Chuck Harris makes 2. And guys coming off the bench that make shots, and so that difference of we don't shoot the ball well, and like you said, that they score on the offensive glass in the first half makes it a really tough combo versus a very, very good team to overcome.
Those couple of stats you mentioned in the first half, I think you guys kind of cleaned that area up in the second half. Was that just maybe a product of seeing that length and athleticism and just kind of adjusting to that?
Until I watch the tape, I won't be able to answer that. I think they're a really good offensive team. They're number 13 in the nation offensive rebounding. I thought that some of those plays, their loose balls they got to, or length in the first half, we made a huge emphasis in the second half. In fact, looking at halftime, we usually go in at halftime, and you can't go in at halftime of a basketball game and talk about 25 different things. You have to look at, okay, why is the game going the way it's going? Let's look at these 3 to 5 things and say, let's see what we can do. And in the last 2 conference games, we've done it each time. I even thought we did a better job of it this time. And one of them was the rebounding game. One of them was the ability to take care of the ball. And one of them was our ability to flow on offense and continue to play downhill. Unfortunately, we did that better job of that in the second half. Really felt like we did. But we don't finish at the rim necessarily on the possessions we need to. On the kick-out threes, when we do get good shots, I think our assist numbers look like that because we don't hit some of the shots that you hope you can hit. Can't guarantee it. I wish I could. But so now your assist numbers go down. And then so you look at those 2 areas, and the one area we probably had success, but I think it's a byproduct of us not shooting the ball well, is we crashed the offensive glass. We're going to keep competing. We're going to keep competing and trying to give ourselves a chance. And Ezra crashes, Brandon crashes, RJ crashes, we get offensive rebounds. It's just not enough to overcome that deficit. We cut it to 8 one time in the second half early, and then they just they hit back-to-back threes, and and they shot the ball really well in the second half. That's a good ball club.
They obviously, Brandon was a marked man for them as along with RJ. Just how much did it affect Brandon not having one of his best games and then really taking him out of it?
Yeah, I think to win any team in conference, any game, home or road, you need your big 3 to step up, so to speak. It's been the first game probably that Brandon and RJ have, not the first game that either of them have struggled, but probably both of them together, definitely in conference play, that have struggled. And but it's a credit to those guys. It's a credit to SMU because they're a great defensive team. This is a top 10 defensive team in the country. But it's also a credit to RJ and Brandon. They're going to have a target on their back every game. It'll be no different next game. It'll be no different on February. It'll be no different in March. And so they've played through that before. You just hope it doesn't happen on the same night where both guys just happen, the ball's not going through the hoop. I mean, I don't think we'll have another game where, what was it, 1 for 10 and 5 for 19?
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't see that. I don't see a 6 for 29 between those two guys. I mean, they put it in every day. It's just one of those games. You give SMU credit, they definitely, but it just went that way today.
And then Bobby too, just seeing kind of out of the Thetford, was it a flow thing, or what did you kind of notice with him?
Unfortunately, I don't have an answer. I mean, the stat line would tell you that, that he wasn't as effective as he's capable of being. As far as anything that would lead to it, I don't have an answer for that. It just, we need him to be a guy that didn't. It just wasn't the night for him.
What did you see out of Ezra? He had a career high 25 tonight. I mean, what did
I thought Ezra in the second half really bought into, Ezra, we need you to play in that paint. And that's, honestly, we talked about it at halftime, and that's the truth. He bought in. He said, I got to do this. I got to do this for this team. I got to do this for myself. And you see how effective he can be in there. And it is nothing to do with his skill that he does have on the perimeter, which he does, but this team needs someone to create gravity. And the gravity he created is real if we can make shots. I mean, that's real. If we start hitting a couple threes, some of those times that he's rolling down the lane, he's going to get more of those. They're not going to have 4 people around him when he's trying to finish if we're sticking shots from behind the arc, and it just didn't happen tonight. But whether he was being single-teamed, double-teamed, whether he was on offensive rebound, I thought what he did was he said, I'm going to play 7 feet and in, I'm going to be physical, I'm going to play, and I think the stat line is a byproduct of that.
It was a good crowd tonight. I guess just how kind of frustrating was it? Y'all were on the cusp of making that run, maybe get them in the second half and couldn't quite, get that momentum, so to speak.
I think it's always frustrating, whether the building happened to be empty or it was a great crowd like it was today. I think there's excitement about this program. I think we had a chance to do something that hadn't been done before, be 3-1 in conference and win 3 games in a row in the American Conference. And so I really appreciate the crowd being here. I love it, and I know these guys fought. We're not ready yet to take that step right now. We weren't today, but this program's going that direction, and we're going to give this crowd and give Greenville an opportunity that we'll get over that hump. This is a process. I would love it to happen in year 2 right now too, but this thing is happening. Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.